Welcome to The Explainer. So today we're doing a deep dive into what it really takes to be an effective leader in an online classroom. If you've ever taught or even just taken an online course, you get that it's a completely different world. But what's the secret sauce that separates a good online teacher from a great online leader? Well, it turns out it's not about mastering just one skill. It's about a whole new way of thinking about the job itself. So let's start right there with the big question. What is the real difference? We all love the flexibility of online learning, right? The whole anytime, anyplace thing is amazing. But that freedom, well, it's actually made the instructor's job way more complex. It's just not enough to teach in the old-fashioned sense anymore. We have to completely rethink the entire role.
And the key to navigating all that complexity? The secret to becoming a truly effective online leader. It's all about understanding that you're not just playing one role. You're actually mastering 4 distinct and super important leadership roles.
All right, let's dive into the first one, the architect. I want you to think of this as the blueprint phase, right? This is all that crucial foundational work that has to happen before a single student even logs on. It's about designing the entire learning experience from the ground up.
But here's the thing. The architect's job is never a one-and-done deal. Not at all. It's about constantly analyzing, revising, and evolving your teaching methods. This role is really the bedrock of the entire course. It's where you make sure that every single activity, every discussion, is purpose-built to help students think critically and learn how to communicate effectively online.
So this blueprint has 3 main parts. First up is acquainting. You got to hook the students, right? Get them genuinely excited about the course and show them exactly what's in it for them. Then you move to the cognitive stage. This is where you focus everything on critical thinking and deep analysis. And once you've done that, it perfectly sets the stage for facilitation, where the whole course is built to guide students toward hands-on, self-directed learning.
Okay, so once the structure is in place, we move on to role number 2, the community builder. I love this analogy. If the architect builds the house, the community builder is the one who makes it a home. This is so important because it's all about creating that human connection that can so easily get lost in a digital space.
And this idea isn't new. It goes way back. The famous philosopher John Dewey really nailed the essence of this role. He said the goal is to create learning experiences that actually change the learner in a way that makes them want to keep learning and growing. That's it, right there. That's the heart of being a community builder. So you can think of the community builder as an emotional architect. Their whole focus is designing a social atmosphere that feels stimulating, but also confident and trustworthy. You're trying to create a space where students feel comfortable enough to really engage, to ask those so-called dumb questions, and maybe even be a little bit vulnerable. So what does that look like in practice? Well, it means creating a genuinely trusting and friendly environment. It means being flexible, adapting as students get the hang of learning online. And this is a big one. It means you're constantly encouraging participation, asking questions, and making it totally safe to make mistakes. In fact, you're framing mistakes as a crucial part of how we learn.
All right, so the house is built, and it feels like a home. Now, our third role comes into play, the conductor. This is the managerial role. Think of this person as the one who makes sure the entire production runs like a well-oiled machine, handling the pace, the logistics, and the overall flow of the course.
So, let's break this down with a few analogies. First, the conductor is like a tour guide. They give you a crystal-clear roadmap for the entire course. There are no mysteries, no surprises. Students know exactly where they are, where they're headed, and what the journey's going to look like.
Next, the conductor is also like a sports coach, right? A good coach doesn't wait until the championship game to give feedback. No way. They're on the sidelines, reinforcing the fundamentals with prompt, targeted feedback right in the moment. For an online educator, that means giving graded feedback quickly, while the ideas are still fresh, so it can actually make a difference.
And finally, the conductor is like an orchestra conductor. Their real magic isn't just making sure everyone hits the right notes. It's helping each musician understand how their part fits into the whole beautiful symphony. That's what a great online educator does. They build connections between different concepts so students aren't just memorizing facts, they're seeing the big, beautiful picture.
So, when you boil it down, the conductor is all about balance. They provide precise guidance and really supportive feedback. They're strict and fair with policies and deadlines, but also flexible enough to understand that, life happens. And maybe most importantly, they build a real two-way street for communication, so students feel comfortable talking about their progress and their challenges. And that brings us to our fourth and final role. And honestly, this is in many ways the most advanced one, the guide. This is the facilitation role.
And it's where the educator really steps back and empowers students to take the lead in their own learning journey.
So what do we mean by facilitation? Well, it's all about this fundamental shift in responsibility. The instructor is no longer just the sage on the stage transmitting knowledge. Instead, they're engaging students in the act of creating, discovering, and applying that knowledge for themselves. The learner takes the lead in finding their own path.
Okay, that sounds great in theory, but what does it actually look like? How does a great guide operate day to day? Let's zoom in on how they do it. Well, first, it's about engagement. A great guide is fantastic at welcoming new knowledge, showing students how what they're learning connects directly to their future. They're masters at asking the right questions, the kind that ignite curiosity instead of just handing over the answers. And they're really clear about unfolding shared responsibilities, making it a partnership between the instructor and the student. And they don't just inspire, they equip. A great guide gives students these practical, experiential learning strategies, things like rehearsal, repeating and revising to really process concepts, elaboration, where you absorb, reflect, and summarize to make information stick. They teach students how to organize ideas and, crucially, how to monitor their own work so they can detect and learn from their own mistakes. And what's the ultimate goal here? It's individualized learning. The whole point is to get to a place where each student discovers their own unique style and pace. It's about creating an environment where everyone is empowered to learn in the way that works best for them.
So, okay, we've talked about the architect, the community builder, the conductor, and the guide. 4 really powerful but distinct roles. So how does this all come together? How do you become a complete online leader?
Well, let's do a quick recap. You have the architect, who designs the experience, the community builder, who creates the atmosphere, the conductor, who manages the process, and the guide, who empowers the learner. See how they all fit? Each role is absolutely essential, and they all build on each other.
And this really is the most important takeaway. True mastery isn't about just being good at one of these things. It's about being good at all of them. A truly effective online educator knows which hat to put on at any given moment. They're consciously and fluidly moving between these 4 roles to meet the students right where they are.
So there you have it, our deep dive into the 4 leadership roles of online educators. But the real question, the one I want to leave you with, is this. Which of these roles will you step into first? Think about it. Whether you're an educator or even just a student, which of these areas feels like your next step for growth?